Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today on the Real Estate Podcast. I'm Todd Sumney, the Chief Industry Officer for HomeSmart International, and I am joined today by two rock stars from Philadelphia, Philly in the house. So thank you, Bill Kratz and Rob Foglio from HomeSmart Realty Advisors in Philly. So
Thanks for having us, Todd.
Appreciate you for being on the podcast here today.
Really looking forward to sharing some tips, strategies, and helping agents who watch grow their businesses.
That's what this is all about. Our tagline for the podcast is, strategies and tactics to help real estate agents grow their business. So let's do that. Let's jump right in, because I know, the thing I love about both of you is your energy. And I've seen you interact with your agents before. I've traveled out to Philadelphia. We've done training sessions, marketing meetings, mastermind groups, meetings, etc. I follow you on Facebook. I watch some of your, I was going to bring a pajama, one of those things you hide your eyes with when you sleep, an eye mask. I forgot it today because you do a Facebook podcast periodically about, agents being entrepreneurs. And is that right?
Absolutely. So
tell me a little bit about that.
I think the whole premise for doing that is we really want to help agents get back to that space of treating their businesses like real businesses instead of having a job that essentially runs them. And I think that's what's missing in the real estate industry, where the only training we get so often is how the latest shiny object lead generation strategy and how to just run a lot faster but not get any further toward financial freedom. So, with us in Philadelphia, one of the things that we really like to teach is entrepreneurship, owning a business, running a business, and thinking like a CEO and a business owner. So hopefully we can tap into some of that stuff specifically today.
Let's start there real quick. You said a couple things, so I want to make sure I capture them. So let's start with that financial freedom concept, because here it is, both of you younger, very successful, have made much success in real estate, and here it is, you actually even own, not only do you own your own real estate businesses, right, but you own your own real estate brokerage now. But you enabled yourself to do that by having success in real estate. So from a credibility standpoint, the knowledge that these two have is very valuable. So let's unpack that. How did you get to such a young, a state of financial freedom so young, and how do you help other agents do that?
Right. So I think just a little bit of background on us. We own an investment and development company, number one. So we have maybe 28 properties or so in Philadelphia that are paying us money right now while we're doing this, or when we're sleeping, or anything else. And that's really a retirement strategy, wealth building, and gives us both, peace of mind that I'm 36, you're 36 too, and we're damn near financial independence at a relatively young age.
I'm just kidding. I'm not 36. I wish I was, but keep going.
He just looks 36.
No, that's awesome.
So we have that, and we have the real estate brokerage with about 150 agents, and we started where a lot of the agents who are watching this right now, we were real estate agents and we're just doing sales, but all along the way, we also were thinking outside the box and building different income streams, and always just had that entrepreneurship gene within us, where we just don't go and work 4, 5, 6, 7 hours a day. We just want to double that and wanted to get to this point as early as possible. So that's really a little bit about us, and then we have multiple other businesses that all feed into it. And I just think that what's missing in the game is that no one's really teaching real estate agents how to own businesses, because the industry is really about lead generation, selling another house for the company, and then you do that for the next 10 to 15, 20 years, and it's the only people that end up getting rich and wealthy are the owners of these companies who take such large pieces of your commission check. And we really wanted to change the game in a different way.
I like that, and I've talked to some of the agents that you're working with, and you really are helping other agents do that. So I guess I'd like to ask you two questions. Okay, so one, pretend I'm an agent today that, okay, I like this CEO entrepreneur mentality that you're talking about, and I want to work toward financial freedom. What's one or two things that I can start with right away to work toward that path?
Right. So you probably hear in business that in real estate, the lifeline of every agent is what? Lead generation, right? For us, we actually say lead generation comes second to profitability. So every business owner or CEO, their major job at the end of the day is to make sure that their companies are profitable. Right. If not, then there's no reason for a business to exist. You don't, run a business for free. It's not for charity. Ultimately, you have to be profitable for yourself, your shareholders, and in business as real estate agents, that's our family members and everyone else around us. So profitability is most important, and there's different ways to increase profitability. Number one, depending on the company that you're with, negotiating and getting a better split, or being at a 100% commission firm like HomeSmart. Number two is knowing where to cut expenses in your business. There's all kinds of things that we found in our business. Oh, yeah. That we do a periodic audit where it's like, oh man, we're spending a grand or two here, a grand or two there, and we could eliminate a lot of costs that way. Right. And then also, strategically thinking about where your business is headed. A lot of real estate agents just take anything and everything, any buyer, any seller, any rental transaction that comes along, and you have no control over your business when you run it that way. So, at some point, maybe you get started that way if you're in survival mode, but at some point when you plateau, you have to start to actually drive your business in a direction. For us, it's less is more. So if your average sale price is $250,000 right now, what would it look like if you could boost that to $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 sale price? So you're doing, less work essentially or the same amount of work for a lot more money. So your profits are going up without you having to leverage your time.
So do you have a tactic or two that specifically helps do that, raise the average price point? I have one, but I'm going to save it and see what you say first.
Right. So I think I would ask you to share that first, and then I would probably be able to give you some good ones in return.
All right. Well, I know of an agent that they wanted to raise their average price point. So what they did was they started to market luxury properties on a regular basis. Okay. So what they did was they picked 6 times in a year. They picked luxury homes. They obviously went to the agent who had the listing, and maybe it was and they were also trying to they wanted to start to get into that luxury high-end market. And so they went to listing agents and said, hey, would you mind if I marketed this out to my buyers? And so what they found was, on a regular basis, marketing those higher priced homes, all of a sudden the influx of lead gen that came from their sphere, the price points were higher. And literally over a 2-year time period, she raised her average, sale price, and she did it by marketing more expensive properties. And so it was a twofold strategy. Yeah, she would have loved to have sold one of those homes, marketing to her sphere, but she really was doing it to kind of build her brand perception, or bring her brand perception up, where, I can handle, higher priced properties, and it really worked. It really did bring her brand up.
I think that part of it is mindset, where a lot of people working in, let's say, lower price points have a fear that's not even legitimate, where they think, well, I'm doing these $150,000 homes, and people that live in $500,000 homes are going to be different, or I have to prepare myself in a different way, and really all humans are the same at the end of the day. And if you can go in there with confidence, then you'll be able to land the sale. But it is just putting yourself in front of that opportunity, just knowing where, let's say the affluent people hang out, wherever your target markets are, and just being there more often, and knowing what's important to those people in that target market, and being able to resonate with your marketing and sales messages that way. Right. One innovative strategy would be, let's say, like, you have no way that you feel like you could just penetrate the area. Like, one strategy would be to almost say, hey, take one client who lives in, let's say, a $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 house, or $1 million neighborhood, figure out if they want to sell, and then almost offer that person your service for free in exchange for a video testimonial, one that's also written, and they'll give you access to do as many open houses as you want, because then once you've kind of gotten yourself into an area, the marketing that can be used for that for months and months and months on end could really perpetuate you into that market for years to come.
Got it.
Like, how powerful would it be to have, a video of somebody that, you sold their house in a week and it's $1 million home and they're giving you all of these praises, and if you could do something like that. So
that's a good idea.
Like whatever it ends up being is that, like, capitalize on like every opportunity that you have,
right.
With that client, however you get that client.
Right. So Rob, when you have a lot of agents that are that you guys mentor and you coach, right? So do you either have a success story of one of your agents that you could tell, like from a year ago and 4 years later, what where they're at now and what they've done, or even in your own life and in your own business, how did you apply? Like, I want to be you, okay? What do I do right now this month? What is there something I could do over the next 4 weeks, to begin to move in that direction? And did you have that? Talk about your experience with your business. So either your business or talk about one of your agents.
All right. So one thing that we'll preach consistently is consistency.
Okay.
And that helps, helped us and our agents. So the agents generally, especially newer agents, fall into that trap where they prospect, they get a bunch of deals, and then prospecting stops. And 3 months later, their well dries up.
Yep.
So.
And then they start it back up again.
Exactly.
And then they do it. And I call it the roller coaster effect.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we try to teach them how to stick to what they do best. Prospect, hire that assistant. Whether you can afford it or not, figure out a way to hire that assistant and delegate the stuff that you're not good at anyway. Most of our agents, they're agents for a reason, because they don't want to sit behind a desk all day and shuffle around paperwork. So,
hire TC. Somebody to help you with the paperwork so you can still be doing all of that. Because you prospect, you get busy, and then instead of quitting prospecting, hire somebody to help you. So
it's all about systems, processes for you to delegate and eventually remove yourself so you can continue to focus on higher dollar activities. So it's really like those non-exciting things is what really grows your business every day, and being able to let go of things and not getting in your own way, saying, it has to be perfect or no one can do it better than me. Like that mentality will have you being a salesperson when you're 70 years old, walking around showing houses with a cane because you were never able to get yourself to the highest possible level. So, success story, one of our agents a couple of months ago brought a deal to us that she would have made probably a $3,500 commission on, not even like a $3,000 commission. She made a $50,000 flip profit recently off of one deal that has catapulted her into buying eight units, a 5-unit and a 3-unit apartment building, and she's now going to be building new construction, just like leveraging her profits and connections. And she.
So how did she learn how to do that? Just did you guys help her, or did she read, research?
So we helped her and mentored her through the deal ourselves. So we have that investing background and we encourage it, and we walked her through that transaction and actually got her to look at something outside of just chasing that commission and say, well, what if you structured the deal this way or did it that way? Here's what the opportunity could be for you. And that's like very common in our office. A lot of our agents are buying rental properties for their first time. They're flipping houses, and they're doing other things like having ownership in title companies. And we're not talking about profit sharing where you have this measly little slice of the pie. They're actually like starting businesses and owning them and really walking down that path of entrepreneurship.
Right. Okay, so back to organization and processes, because I've seen your phone, and I've you've talked to me before too about how regimented both of you are from an organizational standpoint. So can you talk about how you feel organization, your to-do lists, your checklists, the different things that you do, how they help an agent be successful?
I'm about to go off. Number one is that agents suffered constantly from shiny object syndrome, where it's like you just allow yourself all day long to be distracted by the books, the podcasts, the YouTube videos, or the next opportunity.
Well, this podcast is legit though. So.
Right. So, but there's a point in time where
Right, I get it.
once this goes off, whoever's watching this, you have to actually implement and take action on these items. You have to reach out to the people here and make it happen, because this is motivation. But if you don't take that next step to bring it to life, then it's all just entertainment at the end of the day.
So what do you do, or what do you teach your agents to take it to life? Because I've seen that, I do a marketing class or I do a podcast and somebody's like, hey, that was great, and they're nodding their head, but a week later they don't implement anything. But then I talked to another agent who said, I took those 5 things and I did them, and man, they really affected my business. So
extreme focus. Number one is you have to have extreme focus, and you have to know what your distractions are. So it's like, if I'm going to be in the office working, I'm going to make sure that I'm not doing emails at the same time I'm doing phone calls. And another thing is learning how to say no has been huge for me. And I still have to crack these guys over the head sometimes, and having them say no to certain opportunities that are not opportunities.
Saying no to one thing so you can say yes to
Right.
prospecting, or to calling, or to what?
Right, to do anything from whatever your highest dollar activity, anything that doesn't meet that criteria, you have to say no to. Whether it's family and friends calling during the day, and then you end up in a 30-minute conversation, like that's productivity that goes out the window.
Right.
When you have a goal and you're trying to get
So do you
things
time
done.
block? What do you do?
Time block for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like time blocking to the T. You will at certain times you're not going to get in touch with me.
Right. No, I know that, because I called you one day. I was like, I can't get a hold of Bill, like for a 2 or 3 hour time period. And Rob answered his phone, and he's like, oh yeah, Bill he's doing his calls right now. You're not going to be able to get him for 3 hours.
Right.
And he's like, he will not interrupt until he completes your calls.
So I know one agent he probably makes $2 million a year in just commission income. And, when I first started building a relationship and a friendship with the person, I was just trying to figure out what makes him more successful than, 99% of all the other agents around the country. And after speaking with him further, I realized that, there's a certain time, during the day, every single morning, he still does his prospecting for 2 to 3 hours. If you come into the office, if he had a brick, he'd probably throw it at your head. There's no disturbances whatsoever. So again, it's like those repetitive tasks, those consistent things that you do every day is what drives your business. And most agents never get to that level because they allow themselves to become permanently distracted by everything except for what's important sometimes.
Okay.
So a lot of times it is time management.
Right.
And
Time management, prioritization. I mean,
Yep.
it's as simple as that YouTube video everybody's seen where they, put the rocks in, and then, with the sand and all that, and then the water.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Every day you figure out what your most important tasks are, do them first.
Right.
Don't even touch that sand until you finish the rocks.
So what are the most important tasks then for an agent who is trying to grow their business?
Right. So, like we touched on earlier, just like making sure that you are as profitable as possible. Like that, to me, that's number one. So, because let's just say, for example, if you added up all your fees and you were on a 50-50 split with your broker, that means 30 minutes of every hour you work belongs to the company that you work for. And essentially, you're doing all of the work because the owner of that company is not coming to your open houses. They're not prospecting for you. They're not paying for your Zillow. They're not doing anything. So it's like, what are you paying that business
That's
partner
really
to do?
interesting when you put it in terms of time.
Think about
So like I'm working a 8-hour day, a 10-hour day. So in a 10-hour day, 5 of those hours.
Right, so it belongs to the company you work for.
Wow,
So it's
okay.
like, just number one, again, increasing profitability, and then from there, it's twofold. It is going to be your marketing and lead generation, and then the third part is constant strategic thinking about how to run a business. So it's always taking a step back, having that vision, having goals that move you towards your vision, and then always working on systems to leverage yourself, your time, and energy. It's the most important thing.
All right, so we got 9 minutes left here. Top 3 things from each of you on what that marketing and lead gen is. So very specific. So number one, be more profitable. Get with a brokerage. You have a phrase I love, both of you. No BS, no broker splits. That's kind of your thing. So you like get to a transaction model, where you get 100% of your commission, right? Absolutely. Okay. So but then from there, now you're talking marketing, and you're talking lead gen. So top three things.
Okay, so I'll start. Probably first thing to do is strategic thinking, just figuring out like what it is that you love or hate about lead generation. If you wake up every day and you hate making cold calls, then cold calling probably won't be for you. If you can stomach making cold calls and you're really good at it, you should be doing more of it and then building a team around that. So just knowing what it is that you're really good at or enjoy doing, and then plugging into that. We've had a lot of success doing events. So for us, whether it's first-time homebuyer workshops, but we help our agents take it to another level. We position our agents as, it's called the ACE formula: authority, credibility, and expertise, where you are building certain types of relationship with people in your marketplace through live events. When you're a speaker, you automatically have a certain type of authority. Okay. And it's not just first-time homebuyer workshops. We're doing financial wellness workshops. We're doing community events where some of our agents just have cookouts for people in their sphere of influence, and they come out. That ends up turning into podcasts and Facebook Lives with some of their previous clients and things like that. And there's a whole entire business model. One of our agents just did over 80 transactions to date this year, has never made a single cold call in his life, doesn't do anything but events and workshops and using the ACE formula.
Wow. Okay.
That would be one.
And it boils down to, again, figure out what you're going to do and do it consistently. Right. Back when we first started, I was out in the streets knocking on doors every single day, whether it was 10 degrees outside or 110 degrees outside. I was out there every day.
Well, I heard when I was in Philadelphia with you all, I heard that many of your agents were talking about door knocking, or even door knocking to drive people to an event. Mm-hmm. Hey, I just want to make you aware we're doing this thing, and I just remembered it was a higher percentage of your agents who door knock than I typically run across in an office. So do you teach your agents to door knock?
Oh yeah,
of course.
Help them.
It's going back to the basics. So, cold calling is extremely effective. Door knocking is extremely effective. Text marketing is extremely effective, and just again doing it consistently and picking 1 to 2 things and then doing it, putting your head down, and don't do anything else for the next 6 months. Like you can't simply do everything, at least not until you have mastered one thing, you have replaced yourself with another person to do that, and then you have another arm.
How about videos?
Video is huge. If anyone's like some of our agents are huge on social media. One in particular where she's built an entire business off of Facebook ads, and is making a lot of money passively because we've helped her.
So what's an example of like her ads, or what type of marketing?
So now she does.
Find out how much your home is worth.
So she does Facebook Lives, and then she puts them out. She sponsors those ads and then puts it out to her target market. And she has a program where she works with the first-time home buyer market. Renters who want to be first-time home buyers, and she has a whole program where she's getting paid to do workshops now. So we teach our agents not just to do free home buyer workshops, but turn that into a profit center. So she's probably making $4,000 to $5,000 a month for doing one workshop for a group of people, and that will be scaled.
So the attendees pay.
Right. So it's a membership.
Okay.
So she has about 40 to 50 members paying $99 a month right now. Mm-hmm. So she's making $4,000 to $5,000 a month just off of that, and she can't. She could scale to 100 in the next 2 to 3 months, but she's going to have to hire more people. So, and that's before she even gets them pre-approved for buyers.
So how many workshops is it? A 3 workshop, a 6 workshop, and the workshop is designed that somebody comes in wanting to buy a home, and by the end of it, they know everything and they're positioned, their finances are in order. Is that how is it?
So this is the takeaway. High level, you have to look at your business for everything else except for what it is currently. That's the problem with real estate agents. It's all marketing incest. Everyone's copying off of one another and doing the same thing, where it's like if you could look outside of your industry and see other things that are working, coaching groups and all this other stuff, it could be plugged into your business. So what we helped her develop was, no, you're not a real estate agent yet, because it's too soon for you to be a real estate agent to a renter who doesn't even know they can own a home yet. You have to actually be a motivational speaker to these people, and you get paid to do that. So where in the industry it's like, oh, do first-time home buyer workshops, we're teaching her to be a motivational speaker for a target market, and those people could be in the program for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, and she's getting paid residual income for this. So that's the type of stuff that we're doing, and it's getting paid from the very beginning to the very end and beyond, because now we have a program that once you graduate and buy a house, now we can put you into other programs that just keep you involved with the group.
Gotcha. All right. Any more on lead gen or marketing before I do the wrap-up question? We got about four minutes left here. Okay, because here's the wrap-up then. Okay. We got, let's just say there's 100,000 agents that listen to this podcast. It's what's the takeaway? What's the takeaway? The
I got it.
Go off. On what's the takeaway? What's one thing you want them to take away?
Right. So if you look at yourself and your business right now, and you look 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years into the future, what is it going to look like? Because for a lot of us as real estate agents, it's going to be the same thing, Groundhog Day, over and over and over, running on a treadmill, chasing commissions, doing the open houses, prospecting, and you have a sales career, but 10, 15, 20 years, you're going to be a little bit more burned out. You're going to be tired, and you're not going to have the same energy to keep up with all of these new people entering the industry. We don't know what types of disruptions can occur that can affect our business. So the big takeaway is, now is the time to step back and work on the business instead of in it all of the time. And that's essentially working smarter, not harder, putting those systems for automation and delegation into place. And then once you're free from all of those monotonous $10 an hour activities, you can get to that higher level stuff where you can be on top of a mountain with your binoculars and see 5 years down the road and predict the storms and forecast and make moves and get yourself into things like real estate investing.
Right.
For us, like if we do nothing else, we can sit back and collect rental payments, and that's it. And no real estate agent got into this business to have a career. We've been lied to by the real estate industry, and they want us to have careers, but like I'm here to reawaken your business and entrepreneurial spirit to say that's not why you got into this. You didn't want to have a boss. You didn't want to have an income ceiling. You didn't get into this to work 7 days a week, 12 hours around the clock. You did this to have a different kind of lifestyle, and we have become our own worst enemies, and it's time to wake up and to be an entrepreneur. And
so that's where I guess my takeaway, what I'm hearing from both of you is, okay, help people buy and sell real estate, but while you're doing it, invest in real estate of your own to own. Like invest to own real estate as well.
Sure. Right.
And do it along the way.
And then it's like, it's just like owning all the other opportunities. So if you go into Home Depot, you're not just going to buy the kitchen cabinets. They're going to sell you on the delivery, they're going to sell you on the installation, and they have all of these businesses within the businesses. So as you grow in your business, what else can you have ownership of or a piece of? Right. Like if all agents in your office are getting settlement gifts for their clients, why don't we own the gift basket company that sells the gift baskets to the company? So like that's how I think, is like, how do I get a piece of all of this stuff?
Right.
And just building a business like that.
Right. That's awesome. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for being here with us today. Again, I'm Todd Sumney, the Chief Industry Officer for HomeSmart International. And thank you to Bill Kratz and Rob Foglio from HomeSmart Realty Advisors in downtown Philadelphia and the greater Philadelphia area, multiple offices, and for sharing your insights today. I really appreciate you being here.